Cliffe Knechtle discusses with an atheist woman why you can't live with the atheist worldview, and explains if you're an atheist there is not right or wrong. Everything is relative. Enjoy.
Sure. The first thing that comes to mind is the problem of animal suffering is really difficult to contend with in religion.
Yes.
I know for like the problem of evil, a lot of Christians say like free will, which I understand that argument, but it becomes more difficult when you talk about animal suffering in the wild that doesn't have any human influence. And why would a loving God allow the starvation, disease, predation on billions of animals every day? They're truly suffering.
Yes,
and
there
there's
is.
no promise of heaven for them because in the Christian view, animals don't have souls. So that just seems really unjust to me, and a loving God wouldn't create that type of system.
Okay, I respect your sensitive conscience. Who defines justice? Why are you so outraged that animals suffer innocently? If there is no God, what is, is. It's not good. It's not evil. You use the word evil. Who defines evil? If there is no God, evil is totally subjective, totally relative. It's a crapshoot. If you're right that there is no God, I don't lose anything. If I'm right that God is real and that Jesus Christ is the way to heaven, you lose everything. If there is no God and if everything's relative, why are you so upset about the suffering of animals?
Because I think pain is a bad thing.
Fine. You acknowledge it, it's all relative. So if it's all relative, what are you getting so stoked about? That animals suffer, it just is. If your worldview is right. See, my point is you're not living out your worldview. If I say, I believe in Jesus, and you watch me go out and womanize after I speak here, you're going to point your finger in my face and say, Cliffe, you're a hypocrite. And you'd be right. Well, similarly, if you're going to tell me that everything's relative, but you're really outraged over the pain that animals experience, you're an intellectual hypocrite because you're contradicting what you believe.
I think that like Hitler truly believed that what he was teaching was correct, even though it was egregiously, horribly, horrifically wrong. I think in his sick brain, he thought that he was doing what was best.
And man, my point is very simply, we agree about Hitler, but you have no basis for saying that what Hitler did was wrong because you're a moral relativist. And if you're a moral relativist, what Hitler did is not absolutely wrong, it's relatively wrong. I'm an arrogant twit if I look at Hitler and say, oh, that was evil. I'm an arrogant twit if I look at Joseph Stalin and say, oh, that was evil. What I should say is, from my cultural perspective, from my biased position, what you guys did was wrong. But that's just my opinion, because it's all relative. And I can't live that way. When I am confronted by a Joseph Stalin or an Adolf Hitler, I don't say, well, my subjective opinion is that that was really naughty. No, I reel with moral indignation saying that was absolutely evil. Just look at the Nuremberg trials. The Nazi officers had some brilliant lawyers. And the lawyers said, whoa, 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 time out. Who do you Americans think you are, and Europeans, judging Nazis? Don't you realize the Nazi officers were just doing what their superiors told them to do? And the Nuremberg trial shut down until Robert Jackson, the American counsel, stood up and said, wait a second, there is a law above the law of culture. And according to this law, it makes judgments on people gassing Jews. It's absolutely wrong. What do you think Dr. Martin Luther King wrote in the letter to the Birmingham jail? He wrote, I understand. The great state of Alabama has said segregation is good. But guess what, guys? There is a law above the law of the great state of Alabama, and according to this law, segregation is evil. Well, what was King referring to? Obviously, he was referring to the law of God and saying, guess what? If a racist state of Alabama supports segregation, that doesn't make it right. I don't care how much of the culture accepts it. But if there is no God, ma'am, there is nobody above the great state of Alabama. And it's all relative. But Dr. Martin Luther King understood rubbish. There is a God, an intelligent mind, above the laws of the great state of Alabama, and according to God's law, racism is evil. Does that make any sense?